I just assume we're live. Are we live? We are live.
I'm hoping we're live, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Go Live, where we're live, definitely live. It is an extra special, weird, different version of Go Live today. It's just me and Asa today. You have the pleasure of the dastardly duo, which very rarely happens. And usually, I think the last time we did this was when, Asa?
This has never happened before. No, has it happened before? I had to set all of this up from scratch. I don't think this has happened before.
We did a dual reaction thing to a showcase, I think, once. It was just us two.
Did it go well? Have we got, like, good chemistry?
It did. It did go well.
Of course, stick around, everyone. It's going to be a good show.
You're going to have an incredible show. You actually get to hear Asa talk today. It's going to be a weird show. Unless it's just me blabbering on for ages. And even I am not that obnoxious that I can withstand that. Thank you so much. I don't have to introduce any guests because there are none. This is going to be an interesting chat. I wanted to make sure it was just us, Asa, because one, I wanted to have a chat with you about it. Just to cut through the fluff as well, and have a one-on-one chat, because there's been so much noise surrounding a lot of this Xbox, this bullshit with the end, you know, the speculation and all of that. And then we've had this podcast, which I have very particular views on it, which may surprise some people unless they watch my live show. But I also want to get your view on it, because I see people like behaving a certain manner in the space, and I'm just like, I want to get your view on it. I don't know what your view is. I know initially your view is very similar, because you're like, this is a load of fluff, Gaz. Because I was thinking maybe we could play it live on the stream. Then I thought, nah. And then you said you just used the same word I used to describe the show, which was fluff. But before we do all that, Asa, man, what's up? Well, how you doing, man? What are you wearing?
Not a lot. I'm looking forward to this. People were asking me as soon as it was announced there's just the two of us. People were saying, like, why aren't there any guests? And I said, I'm pretty sure that Gaz has just burnt every bridge and fallen out with everybody. Hopefully that's not true. Hopefully some people still like you. But yeah, I mean, Xbox have given us some bits and pieces to talk about. I've definitely come away from this whole thing feeling no different about rumours and speculation. I'm still not a massive fan, but you know, there's loads of details we're going to crunch into, I'm sure. But before we get into the obvious stuff, what have you been playing?
What have I been playing? I've been playing quite a bit. I've dabbled here and there in Helldivers, which I guess we'll talk about quite a bit. Played it yesterday with Blaze. Shout out to him. I've been playing a bit of Tekken, and also trying to I'm slogging through Alan Wake, and which I really enjoyed at the start, and now I just want it to be over. I just really want it to be over, and it just feels like I really want to play Prince of Persia. I want to complete Cyberpunk, because my friend Dean's been playing it, and he's really liking it, and he's usually got good taste. So I'm just going through that. I just want to. I'm playing loads of different bits and the finals and all of that. So I'm just trying to focus on one game at the moment, but multiplayer is distracting me. What about you? What have you been playing?
Foam Stars. Loads and loads of Foam Stars.
Are you serious?
I played it a tiny bit on the Sunday. I've got quite a reliable little community, and if I say we're playing a game, loads of people turn out and we play that game. And I was asking for months. I was warning them. I was saying, look, I know Foam Stars looks terrible, but we're going to do it on one of these Sundays. Just once, show up for Foam Stars, and only one person was brave enough to install the damn thing. It's very corporate chic. Yeah, it's kind of gross. Corporate chic? It's corporate. Well, it's very like corpo. Hello, young people. I'm one of you. Let's talk trendy. It comes across really badly in that regard, and the mechanics don't rescue it, unfortunately. So it's not going to be in the regular rotation. But I gave it a go. What more can you ask? I gave it a go, and some Helldivers and a few other things too. But
oh God, I'm your braver soul than me. Apparently, shock, surprise, Foam Stars is dead. Like, no one's playing it. It's like not charting or anything. It's just dead. No one's sharing it. It's just dead. Which is kind of the fate you would expect from this. Before we get into the topics, I'm sure I've got a few here. Let me just do these super chats. Joseph War, thank you for the £2 super chat. Goes Helldivers over Starfield and Halo. We'll talk about that in a sec. JD Gamer with a $2 super chat. Pathetic pork begging ponies still got no games. And Joseph says, we've got the best games and your games. And then JD's fight. This is a super chat war going on right now, Asa. And JD goes back with a $5 saying, wait, it took you 23 years to defeat Halo. And we'll talk about what he means about defeating Halo. And your first party still couldn't do it. Pathetic pork begging ponies still got no games. And then you got X-Flea with a $5 super chat. Phil Spencer in the Verge interview reiterates again that Game Pass is a sustainable, profitable business. Let's stop being gaslit by these ponies, guys. We're talking about that as well, actually. So we're going to break that topic down into its constituent parts. I think there are three subcategories of topics there based on this. Perhaps more. So you can tell me otherwise. Shabs, thank you so much for the £2 super chat. My PlayStation can't wait for Pentiment. Yeah, I wonder how many people will play that. And JD with a $5 super chat. Say hello to the MLB The Show in Game Pass while you pay $70 for it. Still sacrilege. And I'll be getting Marathon too. Oh, shit. The industry's changing and people are fighting over fighting over first-party titles that are appearing on other platforms, which I think was going to be the theme going forward in all of this. Shout out to Marathon. And Joseph Moore is back again with another super chat. Xbox still behind 2013's The Last of Us. I don't understand how, but okay. Fair enough. Maybe in the quality of sad dad games. But yeah. So before we get into that crazy topic with what happened with Xbox, the official podcast, which I rewatched just before this show, Helldivers, Asa, is taking the world by storm, man. Like, it is catching the zeitgeist. It is at 300,000 players concurrent. It has beaten Halo peak players, which was a free-to-play game. Halo Infinite is no small feat. It's beaten Destiny, and it's just going crazy. They had server limits exceeded on PlayStation. Loads of just good news for the studio that have done tremendously well, and they've caught the zeitgeist, and this thing is in the eyes of everyone. And I get it, having played it, but at the same time, I think it's a little bit overrated. Or it's good, it's fun, but it's like PlayStation guys finally got a half decent solid multiplayer game. They're really lapping it up. I'm not trying to be salty on it. I genuinely enjoy it, but I can only do 2 games. Then I'm like, all right, off to something else, because it's quite basic in many ways. Have you played this? Because I know you played it last week.
I've played it a bit, not enough to get to the stuff that's supposed to make it shine, I think. The developer Arrowhead, they say, or one of their little company mottos or slogans, is that a game that's made for everybody is made for nobody. So they're going to stick to their principles and make the game that they want to make. And the game that they want to make with Helldivers is quite deliberately awkward to play. And that's a direction and a vibe that they've gone for on purpose. They've nailed that. It makes everything feel a bit more tense. It makes you feel like death is imminent all the time, because rather than being remotely agile, all you've got is like I call it the Abbey flop, where you just kind of belly flop onto the ground instead of having a neat dodge. And you know that it's deliberate because it has these stratagems, these powers that you pull in from orbit, and to use them, you have to use the D-pad to enter these commands. And the whole point is that they're trying to get you into the heat of battle and make it literally difficult to play the game and do what you want to, which is, if you consider like a Nintendo or something like that, is an opposite paradigm to what they do with their gameplay, where everything being intuitive and responsive is like paramount to it being fun. Helldivers does not take that approach. It makes things deliberately slightly obtuse and slightly awkward. So it's not going to be for everyone at all, but it is quite funny. You do die a lot and you do get to explode your friends. So it's good in that sense, and it's clearly finding its audience. What do you think of the firstly the feel of it, but also the way that it handles its like community-driven war effort.
So in terms of the feeling of it, I think this is probably its biggest strength. I like some of the tactile feedback of it. I think it's the sum of the whole. Even like when visibility is really badly, the visibility is affected quite badly in this game. Oftentimes you can't see what's in front of you, and that's a deliberate level design thing. And you think, well, that's a bit stupid. No, but it does add to the tension of it. And then me and Blaze were doing a level. It was very Dune-esque. So it was like, I was like, oh, this is really cool. But you know, there's just sand everywhere. But apparently, if you just kill one of these monsters, that will disappear and you get your visibility back, and that was really cool. So like that visual feedback is really good, and it adds into it complements the feel of the game. Like one thing that I've just need to program, because I've been programmed to do this so bad, like in COD, it's like a meme. You shoot 2 bullets, you reload, but in this, if you do that, you lose the whole clip. And to deprogram yourself to do that is yeah.
I've never understood that in video games. Like, why don't you lose the whole clip when you reload guns in most video games? That's just, of course you would, but it doesn't happen. And then when it does, it's very, very rare. It happened in a VR game I was playing recently, and I was like, why am I out of ammo? Oh, I'm dropping 8 bullets at a time. What? Okay. Yeah, good. I'm glad it does that.
It's really cool. That I do like that, but you end up kicking yourself like, damn it, I've done it again. But you know, it does that thing on scarcity of ammo too, so you can use your redeploy, and you know that those kind of touches are really good. There's a lot of like bloom in this, so you with the bigger guns you have to like hunker down and then just control it, and it's really well done in that sense. If you get that feel of the guns, everything feels like you're like a soldier. There's a bit of weight. The sounds of the guns are it's Starship Troopers, the game, done very well in that sense, and even down to the way the enemies react. So like you're shooting a ton of bullets into them, they don't just like pop like crappy animations. It feels like they collapse, and they collapse in a way that's really realistic. Like naturally they just die because bits fly, and it's not like X and the dead. Well, you do get the on-screen prompt with the X coming in, but it's just done in a way that just feels really like you're fighting a horde. It's not too gamified in that sense. So you're feeling the manic, and that's what the thing, the manic stations, the craziness of it all. Me and Blaze played a game yesterday, and 2 of our players dropped out for whatever reason. It was a bit buggy, and it was just me and him and a horde of these things. And Blaze tried to give up. I said, "No, we can do it, bro. I know you're a PlayStation guy. You used to play a single-player SATAT game, but we could do this," and we did it. So in that sense, it does those like moment-to-moment gameplay, those moment-to-moment things really, really well, and that's, I think, it captures very well in terms of sharing it on social media. And I think that's such a big reason why this is selling so well. Because when you do share clips, it's very hard to share, like, make it look boring. Say, for instance, like a Battle Royale game. There's so many moments of silence in a Battle Royale game that you don't really capture it. In this game, the moments you're going to clip, they all look epic. The graphics look really good. The cape's moving in there, the sand, and all of that stuff. It just adds in, and I can see why it caught the zeitgeist there. But behind all of that, I feel like it's a solid game, but there's not that much depth. So a lot of people asking me, what do you think Gears over this? I'm like, Gears gunplay is everything from the active reload to the variety of weapons, to the way they feel, the multiplayer, even the horde mode, just the complexity of it. There's loads. Not just a thing. Nick Marseille was saying, what about Destiny? It was like, there's no comparison to this. It's a very, very simple game. To your second question about this community thing, I ignore it largely. I don't even know what it means. I just look at it, I see it, okay, I don't feel the impact of it.
That might be, though, like the two things that you just said are kind of connected, because you're talking about the depth of the game and the longevity and all the rest of it. And whereas Gears of War and Destiny have campaigns and structure and missions and all the rest of it, this thing has its community-driven, like, there's a war going on and you're supposed to be helping that effort kind of thing. So I can see how if that is not clicking with you, then you're just seeing it as a very shallow, like, drop-in play for however long a mission takes, get out. how often can you do that? And I'm kind of in the same boat though, because you give me something that's driven by a community, and I don't really feel like I'm part of anything. I feel like you've got some slightly interesting like flavor stats on the screen, but you're going to adjust the goals according to how many people are playing. Like, of course you are. So I don't feel like part of anything real there. But it does mean that each time you log on, you don't really know what kind of scenarios are going to be available and where you're going to be going, and whether you're doing the robots or the bugs or whoever, like whatever else they're going to add to it over the coming months. So I don't know, if they keep things feeling fresh, then there's its longevity, but I don't know.
I question its longevity. I think this is going to see, it's got a meteoric rise. I expect a very steep drop off unless the studio can really aggressively supplement this with content, which they should know at this point that, it's make or break no matter who you are in this space, no matter how big are your successes at the start. It's very highly dependent on aggressive content support, and there's so many avenues in this that they could do. I saw someone mention Killzone skins, even because other skins look shit in this game, like the ones that you can buy. You know me, I'm a whore for things like microtransactions. Yeah, but I went to the store straight away. So I hate this guy, the way he looks. And I just looked at the skins, I'm like, they all look crap. So I'm just like, wait, you need to bring some stuff. And they bought some like Helgen looking ones. That would look really cool. But yeah, like people are enjoying it and it's good. And PG's been screaming at top of his lungs. I told you, see, multiplayer, do gas right. Sony, you'll become the next big thing. And I was good to, there were some clips being shared for some content creators saying, look, this shows that Sony should actually explore making their games third party, like their multiplayer games available even on Xbox. Like they should really do day and date on multiplayer. And Phil Spencer pissed people off. He said, and I quote, he said, Helldivers not being on Xbox, he says, I'm not exactly sure who it helps. What's your take on that? Phil Spencer saying that.
Like, I hope he's very sure who it helps, because otherwise he's in the wrong position.
Yeah, well, that's a bit of a weird comment from him off the back of what we've been discussing in the media lately, isn't it? What do you think of that? Like, I'm not sure exactly who it helps.
You know, my perspective on exclusives, I'd much rather see them everywhere. I'd much rather see Helldivers be available on the Xbox. I think for me, as a consumer at the end of it, that would be better in every way. And it's not like it's one of these marquee exclusives that's been funded to sell PlayStations. So there is a point there in that, yeah, for normal people, it would be better if it was everywhere. He can't speak as a representative of normal people. He runs Xbox. So he knows exactly who it's going to benefit. It's going to benefit his competition. I don't know. That seems beyond common sense, but...
I don't know. It's going to benefit his competition. It's probably a principal reason why people end up buying PlayStations and in the first place, because they can only play that on PC and PlayStation. So it was a bit of a weird one, but at the same time, I do understand, because Helldivers would do incredibly well on Xbox, I think. In fact, it might even challenge PlayStation despite its way low sales figures, because Xbox guys know their multiplayer. They love this multiplayer. PlayStation guys have been mocking gas. Gas has been ridiculed by ponies day and day all the time. So for them to then not only evangelize this game, but also use Steam numbers, which they were mocking Xbox fans for doing with Starfield's performance, is hilarious to me. But that paradigm is shifting. The market is shifting. This has exposed that all the bullshit narrative of a lot of fanboys, PlayStation core community, who really lavish that single player community. Isa?
It's like 50 people on Twitter. Oh, I'm still here. I don't know what that was all about.
Yeah. You just went there. Yes, but it has been associated with the fandom, not just Twitter. It's been like the core PlayStation community always values single player. I'm not saying that's not the case now, but now this goes to show, like, if I'm Sony, I do think that they will very carefully look at this. They will look at this, and there's going to be conversations. around what this means. We will talk about in a bit. Also, I just remembered is Hiroki Totoki. That so much happened this week that I forgot about him, and he just delivered some madness. Before we do that, I want to talk about some more games. Well, Helldivers is. I mean, I don't know what more we can talk about Helldivers, but let me read these super chats that generously been coming in. Chat is messy, man. Have you seen chat? Chat is crazy. He said, don't look at chat. My chat is freaking mad. You guys are killing each other over there. Can I? Where we go. So, thank you, JD, as well. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Say hello to Hellblade, baby. Even Insomniac wants their next game to be like that. He's referencing the fact that Insomniac in the leaks cited their target being Hellblade 2. That's right, King Thrash. How do you reconcile that? You thought Hellblade 2 was worse than Hellblade 1 somehow. You need to lay off whatever the hell you're smoking for that one. Pathetic pork begging pony still got no games. JD's making a tagline. And he's got another super chat as well. He goes, all I have to say is Power Worlds, baby. Now get some. Power Worlds. I don't want to rep Power Worlds too much. And then King Thrash, shout out to with the $5 super chat. More like 600,000 concurrent players. 300,000 just Steam. Wait, we don't know if it's
it is a bigger number now. No, they've come out and said something recently.
Really? That's amazing. Oh, and rest in peace, Xbox. Do what you do. King Thrash, you said there was not going to be a next Xbox hardware. You explicitly said that. How do you reconcile those comments of yours with the bombshell that was dropped? Which I saved your receipts. JD with a $5 super chat. Ponies everywhere. Poor begging ponies begging far and wide. Got no games to play. So sad for you. All in caps, by the way, JD. Thank you for that. All in caps. I got 99 problems, but no games ain't one. JD's having an existential crisis. Joseph Moore with the £2 super chat. Xbox Live support turned off after Dead Rising 3. What the flip are you talking about, Joseph? What? Dead Rising 3? King Thrash again with a $5 super chat. Ponies never begged for Xbox games. Really? Starfield, I got the receipts. Microsoft begged Sony to put their games in front of ponies. Microsoft will release more games on PlayStation than Xbox in 2024. I don't know how they're going to... That's a good point about how quickly they'll release these 4 games. JD with the $2 super chat. Xbox has the best lineup in gaming in 2024 as far as first-party games are concerned. Potentially. And Joseph says Xbox took 13 years for a new IP and it's already dead. I don't know if those numbers are correct, but that's a savage super chat. This is madness, Asa. What the fuck? Ice Cold Cabbage with a £5 super chat goes, what if Microsoft done a deal with Steam and brought a Steam app to the next Xbox? Would that mean Xbox would have Sony's full slate? Love the show. Shout out to you, Ice Cold Cabbage. That's a brilliant username as well. Don't think that's going to happen. How far-fetched is that? Steam coming to Xbox?
No, like, obviously, Microsoft could do some kind of open platform box that includes Steam, but it wouldn't be an Xbox. So.
Yeah, it wouldn't. Yeah, it'd be a Steam box plus Xbox. JD Gamer with a $2 super chat. PlayStation has no AAA first-party games in 2024. Facts. Mighty Keith did not like that fact. For now, they might have something. Surprise. Joseph Wall with a £2 super chat. Here lies Starfield 2023 to 2023. Rest in peace. You guys were just so happy about Starfield potentially coming to Xbox, PlayStation just 3 days ago, and now you're back to hating on it. What changes, I wonder? Mike with a $5 Canadian. If Helldivers was Xbox exclusive, the media would kill all hype and its hate campaign. The game is not perfect yet. No one is nitpicking its flaws. You know what, Asa? This is a controversial statement, but if Helldivers was an Xbox game, I'm pretty sure the reviews would not take 10 days to come out for this game. Why did it take so long for them to review it? Like 2 days, I get it. 3 days, I get it. 4 days, 5 days. What's going on? Let me check Metacritic whilst
I actually don't know the answer to that. Normally as well, when you get a multi-platform game, the reviews are predominantly on the PlayStation side of things. I reckon what you're alluding to is that they're cutting them some slack to get their server issues in order before they give a review, and they would give no such leniency to anybody else, really. I mean, that's kind of a fair concern. I don't really understand why the reviews are taking so long. I think it's very difficult to review a live service game and slate it for very temporary server issues, because they have essentially fixed those now as far as I know. So if you are a review, like a serious outlet that does these reviews and leaves them on record on Metacritic and all the rest of it, and you say this game is bad because I could not connect on Tuesday the 20th or whatever, that doesn't stand over time. So it is an issue where actually if they were to come out and say, look, we're holding off on this review because we can't review the content when it's in this state, and they made that a consistent rule that they apply anywhere and everywhere, I'd respect that. But obviously there is no consistency, no transparency, and none of us know when they're going to pick and choose what gets leniency and what doesn't. So
we know it's leniency based on platform. Yeah, that's not what the song. Whoa, that's I've messed up my soundtrack. Great, I've lost my sound. They were just giving it time so they can give it the highest score. It's taking an 81 on Metacritic after 56 critical reviews, which is around about... It's a fair score. I would give it a 7 out of 10 based on my playthrough so far. JD Gamer, thank you for the $5 super chat. He goes, King Thrash Gaming, someone test this man's urine. I think he's been poisoned with some exotic drugs. They're not all poison. Like pony powder. Pony powder. You should stay off that stuff. Holy shit, chat is mad. This is war in the streets. Console Wars is not dead, Asa. I'm so glad to see this. And then King Thrash comes back. Phil begged for Helldivers after making Starfield exclusive. Nah, y'all enjoy trash while we enjoy great games plus Xbox garbage. Thrash. That was a genuine mistake. That was a genuine mistake. Thrash, you made like 20 videos on Starfield, bruv. I think you have a love-hate relationship for this game. I think you secretly have love for this game. JD with a 5 goes, KT, you just got done begging for Starfield. Pathetic, poor begging party, still got no games and no AAA first party 2024. And Joseph comes back with a $5 super chat. God of War Valhalla, The Last of Us 2 remaster. Come on, what the fuck? SH, what's SH? SH?
Silent Hill. What are we talking about?
Silent Hill. He's listing games. SH. T8? What's T8? Helldivers 2. Final... What's T8? What the fuck are you? Joseph's making up games. Final Fantasy 7 Remake ROT thingy. What's it called? Whatever. And that's Q1. Xbox chirps. Phil Spencer, not like this. Holy shit, you guys are console warring beefly. And then King Thrash is back again. He says, I said they won't have another console. Their hardware will be a Surface tablet and handheld. Watch this space. KT, watch the space. Because we'll get into what this hardware is supposed to be. And Dub, shout out to you for being a member for 24 months. Because why do the hardcore Sony fans target folks like Colt and RDX so hard? I get them having a difference of opinion, but it seems so much blind hatred. There's a lot of hatred generally towards Xbox. And if you see certain content creators who evangelize that brand or support it or whatever, or connected to it strongly, or seen as an extension of the PR machine, then of course they're going to get a lot of hate from the very same group that are intolerant of that brand. Shout out to 603 of you in the chat. Smash it. It's good to see you. And you'll be reading these beefing super chats. Now, which one of the JD, man? Now, which one of those has games that you name was a PlayStation first party game? I'll wait. And Joseph replies, Death Stranding 2 slaps Hellblade 2. Hey, so on this point, do you think what's it called? They're visually... They're talking about... They're comparing visuals. Did Death Stranding 2's visuals impress you more than Hellblade 2?
That's a difficult question. Yes, I would say. But, like, neither of them are real products yet. I know they both say they're captured on their respective hardware. Does one need to be ahead of the other? I personally...
No,
like,
Helldivers is not
like Helldivers. Hellblade is slightly cheating with its letterboxing. That gives you a whole lot more power to put into things like faces. And yet, Death Stranding, like that trailer was phenomenal for Death Stranding. They both are just gorgeous games. So, like kumbaya, you know.
I'm torn on that though. I think that you're a fair point because Hellblade is an open world. Death Stranding is an open world game, and I love the vistas in this game, like especially the bit where the mountain like just collapses. I was like, wow, that the fuck, that just took my breath away. I was like, yo, that's amazing. But what Hellblade 2 does things stylistically and raw visual fidelity that's really good with the lensing and the bokeh and the cinematic feel and the facial animations and whatnot. I'm kind of torn, but I see people arguing about it. They both have their qualities. But one is a AA studio, the other's Kojima. So let's see. King Thrash, he says Concord is Sony's first party game in 2024. I've seen a lot of people say this. This is supposed to be slated for this year. I'm hoping it's a good game as well, because like, Sony's doing multiplayer really well. It's going to be like, hey, this is why I'm building a PC, because now Sony's finally getting its act together as far as I'm concerned. More of these kind of Helldivers, AA type games. Then you're like, okay, Sony's starting to become a lot more fully formed and not a one-trick pony. I'd actually be really happy to see a lot more of that. PC gaming, though. JD Gamer goes, King Thrash, stay off that pony powder. And then Joseph replies, 4 of the 7 of those games are first party, 2 of which I didn't even know what they were. Some are abbreviating them like crazy. And JD comes back, are you calling Concord AAA? I don't even know what isn't it a very small studio? I think it's a AA game, no? Concord.
It's their first game. We don't really know about the scope and scale of it. It's one of the several extraction shooters, right?
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Like, we haven't seen any gameplay for it. They've only shown CGI.
4 A's, then this can have probably 9.
Oh man, that's so true. That's so true. BT Maverick, thank you so much for the $5 because King Thrash short bus. How much does Twitter supplement your child's? What? Come on, BT, that's just insane. Joseph, guys, can I just send you $1,000 and get free super chats until September? Yes, you can try. You just have to flag me down. Poxy 1972. Shout out to Poxy. Ponies have got no games for the next 15 months. No first party games. So they'll be in chat every week. And then I think we'll park these. He said, otherwise, thank you so much. Keep the super chats coming because the beef is good because we have quite a few topics to go through. And I will also read the non-super chats as well because I'll just try to weave that into this very hectic year. Before we go into Sony's... Start joking. Sony's Hiroki Totoki's comments. Let's talk about Nintendo's. The new console, Acer, apparently it's delayed. Like, what? Are you shocked?
Like, disappointed.
You?
Of course.
Why wouldn't I be? Nintendo.
I love Nintendo. They're if any of these companies are my favorite of the companies, it's Nintendo. I just don't play on the Switch or like Mario.
Oh, okay.
But like, in terms of personality or charisma or whatever, if you want to try and see these companies as people, Nintendo are the good guys. They never discount their games. I hate them for that. I don't like Mario. They shouldn't have made any Mario games since like the turn of the century.
Shut up.
But they genuinely, their board of shareholders will come out and say, money's not everything. We want to make good games. And they are the only corporation that I can look at and say, well, they're not just in it for the money at the shareholder, at the board level. I mean, you've got people like Phil Spencer who do seem quite genuine.
Yeah.
But, you look at Microsoft and you think if Phil Spencer steps away and those people go, then we're at their mercy. And with Nintendo, it doesn't feel quite like that. But the Switch is like a bit of a turd of a console. I don't like portable handheld stuff in the first place. I want a proper on my TV screen Nintendo console, and now I've got to wait even longer for it. So it's disappointing in that sense.
Why do you think it's been delayed?
Because Nintendo don't have the continuity that Microsoft and Sony have worked very hard to put in place. They both switched over to their common x86 architecture or whatever so that they could smooth off the generational shift. And Nintendo are looking at the Switch they're selling and going, we don't want to hit reset yet. And until it actually stops selling and stops proving successful for them, because it's a very, very difficult thing to reset their own audience. So they're just putting it back and putting it back for as long as they possibly can.
So yeah, maybe possibly. Sorry, King Thrash is so messy. He goes, I just wanted to super chat because the bots weren't super chat because they're broke. Shout out King Thrash. I think they. Part of me feels like they don't know what they want to do next. Like, I feel like the Switch is such a runaway success. I don't know. I think they have real challenges about what they do next. But I also think they have an opportunity. I think I was talking to Hagi about this. Nintendo have long sidelined sidelined third-party parties in favor of their own. If they could deliver a compelling bit of hardware that can accommodate third parties without having to do a lot of their own work to enable to have that happen, they could be massively disruptive. Because for years we've just said Nintendo are in their own lane, but they could really easily step into the other lanes where all the lanes seem to be converging anyway. Do you think there's a possibility there that the next Nintendo could have third-party support like the other consoles do?
So I think they'll get third-party support by virtue of being bigger and more successful. So third parties are more likely to gamble on them. But I don't think Nintendo are going to pivot their strategies to try and be more like Microsoft or Sony. I think they're probably looking at it going, wow, we made a brilliant decision to not be like them and to do our own thing and to stay in our own lane. So they're going to stick with that. The risk is that they do something weird again and go through their usual pattern of like big console flop. They just try something unusual that people aren't ready for. But no, I don't think they're going to build this thing around having Call of Duty and Fortnite, despite the success of those games. Nintendo, I typically say Nintendo are 20 years behind the rest of the industry as well. So they're not ready to be there. But like naturally, the next console has to be a lot more powerful. It's going to be competing likely against handhelds from other manufacturers as well. So it will get better third-party support even without specifically targeting Xbox and PlayStation.
Yeah, I hope so. I think that would be a really good symptom of Nintendo, like just really throwing a spanner in the works there without even actually intending it really, like strongly, just still supporting their first party. But incidentally, if they do get more better third party support, that will benefit them. And if messaging can go out, like, hey, by the way, if Xbox do a handheld as well.
When you say that, though, when you say better third-party support, like the Switch has massive third-party support, doesn't it? It just doesn't. I
mean, like the
AAA.
The mainstream, like your CODs and your Assassin's Creed and all of that. If the developers are like, okay, we can make this game for your console because it actually has decent power, Nintendo are like, all right, go for it. We'll still do our own shit. And then, if they do that plenty of times, because Nintendo's huge, a massive player in the game, and you get the right kind of game, like a Helldivers perhaps, and mobile version of that would be really good, then you never know, it could be very, very disruptive. And so Microsoft, the rumor mill suggests that they're going go down the mobile route, so we'll see. I don't know, but that's another one. Can we talk about Skull and Bones? Is there anything to say about this game or nah? Like I haven't followed it. I saw some reviews came out. Nah, I have no interest in it, but some people saying it's actually all right, but is it really?
Not for me so far. I got really upset right at the start of it because you make your character and you don't even get to give your character a name. So it presents itself as an MMORPG, but the pirate is so inconsequential. You play as a series of boats, and it's weird.
Oh. I
used to say, because during the alpha and the beta one, we couldn't really like publicly disclose much of what we'd played. I said that controlling the boat was weird in that if you're playing on a PC, you use the WASD to move around. If you're on a controller, you're still steering left and right on your boat with the analog stick. You use A to put your sails down and go forwards. And it's very, very natural to like compare and contrast it against Sea of Thieves, where you're a pirate and you get on a boat and you do boat things. In this one, you don't. If you want to aim your cannons or whatever, you hold the left trigger and it gives you like a reticule to aim with. If you aim left and you press shoot, then the guys on your boat on your left, well, like the appropriate cannons will fire, but you're playing it like a first boat shooter. It's weird, a weird direction. And it could be, I've only played it a couple of hours, and the first couple of hours are pretty dire, but it is a massively multiplayer online game, and I've not engaged with the multiplayer component of it. So there's a chance that if I were to sink like another 20 hours into it, it would expose some mechanics that made it a lot more compelling than it is right now. And now it's just making me want to go and play Sea of Thieves.
On PlayStation. Captain Awesome says dull and bones. Yeah, look, I'm not gonna play this. I don't think there's plenty of games in my backlog, but it's interesting to see that this actually came out begrudgingly. I'm sure it's not going to do that well, but Ubisoft are pretty good in supporting their games. So let's see where this one heads. But chat, if you have been enjoying it, let me know.
Tell us why.
This week we also
tell us what makes it good if you get through it.
Yeah, please do, because it'd be intrigued to know if there's anything. Well, we may be putting our nose up over it and then find out it's actually a good game. Crystal Dynamics teased a new Lara Croft game. Don't know what more I can say about that. And Where's Replaced? I want that game. But there's not much to talk about there. Let me talk about Hiroki Totoki in 43 minutes. Yeah, like, so this console warring. I don't know why you don't like it. I know why you don't like it. But so just on the eve, just the day before this ominous Xbox podcast that Xbox fans were like nervously anticipating, embracing themselves, and the PlayStation guys were salivating at the soon-to-be demise, or so they thought, of the Xbox brand. In comes out Hiroki Totoki, the COO of Sony, and he made a series of interesting quotes, which in my incredible preparation, I prepared none of them, but I'm sure I'll recall them from the top of my head. But the main thing is he was, well, quite like refreshingly open and frank about some things, and said that he, in his short tenure, he's noticed that SIE haven't been that great in perhaps utilizing their, I don't know, extracting the most value out of their assets, or something to that effect. Basically saying that Sony, well, the margins are getting thinner on their profits massively, and and as a result, they're he wants to explore other avenues more aggressively, which is PC, anywhere there's computing. It's echoing exactly what Xbox want. And I don't think it's a coincidence that he's saying it. The market's also shifting a certain way. What's your take on that? Because do you think this is just par for the course? Because some corners of the PlayStation world are saying this is just the same old stuff. Like, we've been hearing it before. Like, they've always wanted to focus on other platforms. But I don't think this is the case. I think it is him quite clearly signaling that Sony will aggressively go, not third party, but will. To me, this is day and date on PC written quite clearly on for a lot of titles. I just think it's going to happen a lot sooner if it wasn't happening before. What do you think about all this?
I think the stuff that he's saying has been signaled by a lot of people in the industry. It comes down to the problem that we've all seen again and again and again, that's been spoken about since Gears of War 3, in that the AAA industry is just not sustainable in the way that it's been going. The console space is not growing. Yep. The cost of the games has been going up. There's no avenues to sell it. So their opportunities to keep that sustainable and keep it profitable are either to extract more money from the people that are already playing, or to get more people playing and extract money from them as well. There's only so far you can push getting more money from the people that are playing. We've seen that. There was actually a reasonable amount of resistance to putting the prices up to $70. So it's not a no-brainer to keep increasing the price and making more money. At some point, people will just stop buying the games and you don't make more money, which leaves them the opportunity of, well, their only opportunity really is to find new audiences and expand. What I wouldn't say necessarily is that what he is saying is that suddenly everything's going to be day and date on PC. I think that's like fairly inevitable at some point in the future, but I don't think the timescales are necessarily that aggressive on it, because Helldivers is an example that people are using, saying like, that's just come out and it's done really well on PC. So they're going to be looking at that, and then they're going to be saying, well, we should do this for like all of our games. Horizon Forbidden West comes out in a few weeks. If that does well on PC, then that's a data point that will say, hey, our staggered release works. And the thing that they can look at in terms of data points, they've got their own internal ones. They can look at how their games do or don't perform on PC. They can see that games, obviously a game day and date performs very well on PC, but they can also look over their shoulder and see how this strategy has worked out for Microsoft. And it's not all been like sunshine and easy times massive success overnight by putting games day and date on PC. So there are counterpoints to the strategy as well. It's pretty much everything. If any business decision was that easy, that it's all pros and no cons, it would have happened already.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I do think it's going to shift, but I think both of these companies actually move very slowly in what they do. So I'm not sure how soon it will shift.
Yeah, it's a very good, fair point. I'm not saying that this is going to be a shift that's going to happen overnight. I just feel like that data point that you mentioned of Horizon, I don't think, like that staggered release date, I don't anticipate it selling crazy amounts, like based on the other one. I don't know if PC Crowd even, I don't know. It may be wrong there. It might actually do well, but I just don't see it doing well. And if you present that data point to the investors and shareholders alongside Helldivers, AA, comparatively minor budget to develop, I'm sure, and the profits that they've made and the margins there, and he's talking about margins, then, there's, and then you get another game. I think they said they pivoted to gas, and they did a little slight pivot and readjustment anyway, and then they're going to see the gas success and they're going to double down because that's where the market is, and I think Sony need to do that.
He did already say, because there were obviously questions about whether the gas strategy is still in full swing, because obviously Jim Ryan stepped down. They had I can't remember who it was that left, but they had people leaving the company. There was supposed to be this internal conflict and turmoil over whether gas was the right way, the studio's pushing back against it and all that kind of stuff. He did reiterate that the gas strategy is still happening, that is still money that they want, and Helldivers is not just an example that gas can work for them, but an example that smaller budget games can work for them, because that game's a lot cheaper to make than bloody Horizon. There's lots going on there, and things are changing, they are shifting, but everything's going to feel exactly the same for a while yet.
Yeah, no, it will. But I love the timing of it, because just before the Xbox podcast, this comes out, and it gave enough ammo to say, well, if it happens, they're definitely going to move in there too. And, despite the incredible success, he also suggested that we're now entering the phase of the latter half of the PlayStation phase. And as he said that, I thought, oh, shit, we haven't even started yet, because as far as I see an exclusive front, Sony doesn't even have a roadmap that I can see. We're talking about the latter half. Most of it was cross-gen. I'm bitterly disappointed. I'm sure Xbox has the same trajectory as well, and they're just about to release a game that they should reveal their console with, which hasn't even come out yet. And then you've got PlayStation has zero roadmap. I'm not impressed. Spider-Man 2, okay, that just gonna run on PS4.
They don't have zero roadmap. They don't have zero roadmap. They've got a freaking long roadmap going into 2035. They've got a gap in the roadmap.
None that we've seen. Yeah, they've got a gap, but we were on the latter half. We've already had 3 years in, and we're now going to the downwards phase. This year, they have to show something. I'm not saying that they won't, because the studios have been cooking and doing something, but this year they have to show us, man. The state of play or whatever PlayStation Showcase event has to be strong, because if it's not, I would have serious concerns about what the fuck they're doing. And I think a lot of it will be gas, which will suit me fine. I'm not the PlayStation faithful. But, generally, though, are you happy with the consoles and the way, based on what we heard about these consoles and what these consoles could do and where we are now? I'm really just, not impressed with them. Really not impressed with them.
I like both of these consoles more than all the console fans. I really like both of them. I understand they haven't had masses of exclusives, and there hasn't been that big distinct step from the previous generation. A big part of that, though, is the same thing that we keep on talking about. Games are too expensive. You can't make them for a small audience. The transition has been when we were talking about Nintendo earlier, really struggling to get rid of the Switch, is because they can't do what these companies have done. The reason that we get this hardware in the way that we have is that they can do a smooth transition, and they can do cross-gen games, and they can make that work. For me, I kind of bemoan that both consoles are very similar, because in terms of hardware, I don't really need two apart from there being exclusive games. So That's like 400, 500 quid I could have saved. But besides that, they are both really damn good to use. And if you were to ask me to go back to the Xbox One or the PlayStation 4 generation and play games on those things, that'd be very sad. I don't want to do that. Like the
comparatively to the old
You're talking PlayStation at the moment
that.
Specifically. PlayStation 4 didn't even have the 3D audio for your headphones. The Tempest audio on the PlayStation 5 doesn't get much attention because it's overused in marketing, but it is actually really damn good. The DualSense is much nicer than the PlayStation 4 controller. The console is fast and snappy. And then you look at Xbox, it already had some 3D audio. It's already got nice controllers, but it is so damn good to use. I was showing, I had to explain to my wife how terrible a game Brotato is and how terrible a game Go Mecha Ball is. And he used quick resume just to flick between them and said, look at this terrible game and this one and this one. This is it's a running joke because Gamsley recommended these games on our podcast on a Thursday and they've all been awful. But I was like, look how awful these games are. And I really like using these consoles. And I know I've always said console hardware is good, like competitive or worth using for the opening 3 years of the generation. And it inevitably feels miles behind PC after that point. And we're at that point. Of course, it's miles behind PC. But it is, I really like both consoles. So.
Yeah, because you mentioned the features rather than the quick resume and Tempest audio and stuff. I'm talking more about what these consoles have delivered and, typically use exclusives. I think Ratchet and Clank was a good one showcase for the PS5 at the start with the portals and the ray tracing and all that. And it looks like a CGI thing. But since then, nothing has really wowed me. On Xbox, we had Forza Horizon. Nothing has really wowed me at all. Microsoft Flight Sim, which I don't even classify as a game, really. Okay, whatever, if you call it that. But I'm just a bit like, okay, we'll get Hellblade. But I think that we're getting it very late. We'll get the Fable I think is gonna wow me. Like if I look at the roadmap of what will actually astound me, I don't think Wolverine will do that. Whatever Naughty Dog's next game is, I'm sure will be amazing. Whatever the studio that made Ghost of Tsushima, perhaps. But I'm not there. We're not there yet. I'm just a bit bored of that. I don't know. I'm just having a little whinge. Wah! Before I do, let me read these super chats before we go into the crazy revelation and cutting through the bullshit of what we heard on the Xbox podcast. Let me just go back to these super chats. You've been very generous and thank you guys, even though you're beefing each other constantly. So we've got a Joseph. No, sorry. Apologies. I'm just going back. We got JD Game with the $5 super chat. Keith Rash, you fell on a banana face first into pony powder. I told you to stay off that stuff. It's bad for you. Stop insulting Keith Rash. Just have some proper retorts. Keith Rash, thank you with the $5 super chat. I love Colt. He's entertaining, hardworking gamer who's wrong 90% of the time. RDX, well, let's not talk about the lesser Xbox units out there. Wow. No shade on RDX, please. We miss RDX. Shout out to dealer. Jason on the thank you for the $8 super chat. Take a breather, boys. We want to watch these boys have a say, not listen to brain dead console wars. And then Georgie with a $2 super chat. Just call it like it is. Phil and Matt are failures. So actually on that, Georgie, I did a tweet poll, yeah. And shit, did I not tweet this out? Fuck. I thought I said we are live. Oh no. Well, okay, shit. I've just pushed out the tweet saying we're live now, which is terrible. But I did a poll, Asa, and I've got Xbox biased followers on mine, so shocking, right? But the final results are in. I asked, do you still trust Phil Spencer's words? Where do you think that poll landed? Yes or no? Where do you think people voted? It's very close.
Hopefully no.
Yeah. 50.3% said no. 49.7% said yes. So still 49% of people are pretty gullible. No, but I mean, 50.3% of me and I've got bot followers. And obviously this has got retweeted by a few ponies who are looking to rally some support, but still, man, that's still one-sided as fuck. And I'm glad. Not that I hate Phil Spencer. I really think I've never met him, but I think he seems like a really nice guy. He definitely cares about the brand and he wants the best for the brand. But I think the words are catching up with him and he may not be in the driving seat behind some of the decisions that his leader Satya Nadella makes, but also because of some of the stuff he has done. We'll talk about that in a bit. But thank you, Georgie, for thank you for the super chat, all of you. Eman, thank you for the $5 super chat. Because Thrash, can you land on gas giants or jump over volcanoes in Helldivers 2? Shade, Shade, Lutrons. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Thanks. Thank the God Saint Phil didn't get the boot. I love seeing his silly cherub face and listen to that stupid fucking way he says business. Rep the cult. He says, what the fuck? He's out gaming with the $5 super chat. Every time I hear about this King Thrash guy, I picture him having a garbage man. By the way, a job is a job. Just what I think of him. King Thrash is done well for himself. Let's not get into personal attacks, please. I'm going to read the super chats, and I'm sure they're also personal attacks. JD Gamer with a $5 super chat. King Thrash, pathetic pork begging pony. Oh, play your game for free in Game Pass. MLB, stay off that pony powder. And King Thrash with a $5 super chat says, I just wanted to flame the chat because they weren't super chatting. Broke bots need a jump start to support. No wonder Xbox is waving the white flag. He knows how to talk shit. Hoggy chatting with the $5 super chat. Oh my god, King Thrash has a very important question for Helldivers 2. Can you land on a gas giant? If not, the game is trash. Right, King Thrash? Fucking hell. He's never going to live that gas giant thing down. Georgie, thank you for the $2 super chat. So many suckers falling for Phil speaking this week. And we've got KJ Wars. Shout out to me for member. He's resubbed for, and he's a member for 8 months. Enjoy the gold badge. Welcome to the elite. JD gave it as well. He goes, PlayStation misses their own hardware targets by 4 million units. Is that true? Do they miss their targets?
Yeah, they had a really aggressive 25 million for the year. I don't know what time frame. I don't really follow sales things because I don't care very much. But yeah, they were quite a bit below.
Really?
Holiday
Ponies,
target.
I didn't. Potrock, why did you say that? You were very quiet about that. Profits are down, and it's fun to watch these ponies cope as the sky's falling on them. I did not hear about that, chat. JD, thank you for enlightening me. Oh, shit! Sony is a copycat company, he says, JD. Always has been, and always will be. They're doing whatever Xbox does, as they always have. Just look at the last 3 to 5 years. Oh, I don't know. Well, they have copied some bits. Both copy each other. I don't know which one copies the other one more. JD, thank you for the $2 super chat. NIN delayed the Switch 2 so they could outsell the PS2. Oh, Nintendo delayed. Sorry, I'm being an idiot. Delayed the Switch 2 so they could outsell the PS2. I doubt they cared that much. I think they can. I don't know what the true reason is. Perhaps they're just not ready. King Thrash, thank you for the $5 super chat again. He goes, Helldivers never promised you can explore gas giants. Todd did. That's why it flopped. The lies. Rest in peace, Xbox. I enjoy the tears. Bots stay losing. Do what you do. And I have to read that in Jackie King Thrash. I'm going to read your super chats if you do have any in your voice. JD, thank you for the $5 super chat. Online gaming, Xbox live chat. Built in HD, all done on Xbox first. Know your history, pathetic poor baby pony. And then Joseph comes back and he says Starfield, as told by Xbox, game of the gen. Helldivers, as told by PlayStation Bros, is looking good. More of the story, overhyping does nothing. Is actually true. That's true. And King Thrash back again with that $5 super chat. Guys, the console war is clearly over. All that's left is the brokies in the chat in the third stage of denial. Accept it, former bots. Y'all ponies now. Look. And then JD comes back. You say taking L's, just stop. And then Joseph comes in with the hold the line. He's still holding the line. And Joseph Wall comes back and goes, JD Gamer doesn't know the PS2 had online. And JD comes back and goes, King Thrash, how can you be wrong so much? It's almost statistically impossible to be so wrong as much as you are. I guess it's all that takes is pony powder. And then it comes King Thrash. Look. And then he goes, JD's down to $2 super chat. JD's down to $2 super chats. Broke confirm. I love King Thrasher's Can the chat tell me why player Microsoft is putting their games on PS5? Look, but Sony's not giving them anything. Check it. And then King Thrash, like I get another video. I'm talking over to the chat, guys. If I ever get the invite again, I'd have them wrapped around my finger even more easy. I won the super chat war. He won it. And Tim O'Coin, aka DJ Timmy, with a $2 super chat goes, Pony's in chat here to dump on Xbox. Get a freaking life! This is a melee. We are a microcosm of the console war, Asa. This is all your fault.
Bloody no, I'm not. I'm an island of peace and tranquility.
I'm loving this. I'm not gonna lie, I can do this all day. Joseph Ward then comes back and goes, nothing has really wowed me for Xbox. Gas. That's gonna get clipped now, isn't it? I said the same thing about both. JD Gamer with a $5 super chat. Pathetic, poor begging, but he's now back to $5. King chat. You were wrong. He has the cash. He goes, pathetic, poor begging pony's got no games and no AAA first party games in 2024. I suppose for me playing MLB and Marathon will break their brains. Wow. And then we've had Fonz Gaming with a 13 but shout out to you, Fonz. He goes, I'm not a bot or a pony. I'm just broke. Fuck anybody that has a problem with that. Broke dudes unite. Shout out to Fonz. And Caliber, thank you so much for the generous $10 super chat. It should be very obvious why Starfield won't let you explore gas giants. Queen Trash would get destroyed on Are You Smarter Than a 5th Grader Science questions. Come on, man. Now look up the 3 states of matter. What? Justin Budrum with the $2 super chat. No guess. Oh, 3 states of matter. Okay. Justin Budrum with a $2 super chat goes, no guess equals chat fighting each other. It's freaking insane. Oh shit! And a shout out to King Thrash gifting 5 members. Shall we? JD, he's got more money. I'm not trying to go you to super chat. He's been very generous with your super chats, and it has been an absolute fucking shit show, console warring in money. Part of me's not complaining. It's like, yeah, that's good. Keep doing it. Give us the money. But at the same time, we have to have the conversations going. But that was fun, chat. Come on. That was fun. Holy shit. Then we've got KJ Walls with a $5 5 memberships. Yeah. Say thank you to everyone who did gifted that to you.
Keep the heads ringing.
Just crazy. It's crazy. We're freaking making it rain and feel like me and Ace are just like twerking on stage and just letting you fucking do it. Make it rain on us. Peace and tranquility. Oh shit, King Trash back with the $5 super chat. He goes, members for the brokies out there, ponies win again. Hopefully Fonz got one. Oh shit, that's deep. And then if you've got JD Gamer giving freaking 10. Yo, King Trash, Xbox got that money. He gave 10 memberships. Can you back that? Yeah? Xbox got all the cash. Don't mess JD, man. JD's got cash. He drops serious money all the time now. And then Fonz goes, I'm on PC. Of course I'm always begging for boards. Fonz, man. That super chat was perfect. Oh, shit. And the fucking Dodge here. Thank you for the £10 super chat. So good just seeing you two having a chat for once. Shout out to Dodge, man. He's also your co-host on one of your shows.
On our Tuesday show, yeah.
Shout out to Dodge tonight. He's got a voice that sounds like a pneumatic drill burrowing through your skull, but laced in honey and crack. Shout out to Dodge. Now, next topic before I get murked. So, Asa, the Xbox official podcast. And we're going to break this down to 3 sort of topics so I can read the super chats in between if there are any. We had this podcast, this damage control, this crazy. After weeks, it felt like an eternity of Xbox fans just being in absolute turmoil. We had Tim Dog just has ripped the umbilical cord of Xbox has been ripped apart. He bit that out, and he is still mad at Xbox. Slighted. We had Kid Smooth saying fucking fuck Xbox, and he's there, and a lot of people sold their consoles and all that bullshit, and Xbox had to respond, and they had this showcase, this podcast event that featured Phil Spencer, Matt Booty, and of course the lovely Sarah Bond. And I did a live stream of it, and honestly, Asa, before we go to this, the specifics of it, what's your general, if you're going to summarize it, what was your take? To me, I found it so much marketing fluff. It pissed me off.
So no, there was some stuff in there, and obviously you got 3 topics out of it. There were some proper, concise, and relevant points that they did make, but they also spent about 18 of the 20 minutes saying we want Xbox to be really good for players and for developers and for other people that like consoles, and we want it to be good for developers, and we want it to be good for players, and we want it to be really good. Seems to be about 18 minutes out of the 20.
Yeah. So true, bro. That's my exact reaction. It's like, for fuck's sake. It was like so much like general garbage that, not garbage, but it was so much fluff. And I hate the way they just kept looking at each other like it wasn't scripted at all. Yeah, Matt. Yeah, Phil. And Phil's looking at, yeah, Sarah. Yeah, Matt. Yeah. And it's like, it's fucking, your neck must have been murked from just doing this weird thing. And I realized that the half-life for me of Phil Spencer's like silver tongue has really reached its limit. And I look, if in the weird, like the remote chance that he's watching this, Phil, mad love for the guy. Like he saved the brand, right? He did whatever he does. He cares about Xbox, all of that. But the legacy of failures of Xbox, whether it's attributable to him or not, it just makes it, it's just everything seems like it's an excuse. Everything seems like he's just trying to butter it up, and I respect him. I don't want to hate the guy. On this channel, the biggest performing video is one where I said like he saved Xbox, like and which I believe. But at the same time, like there are statements that he has said that run contrary to what's actually happened. So his actions and the words sometimes don't align.
A lot of it though, because I've always said like he's got a silver tongue and he's always known exactly what to say to all the right people at all the right times. And then he had these court cases and things that meant that everybody could see what he was saying to the other people, and it kind of came unstuck a little bit. When I say he's got a silver tongue, I don't mean like he's outright lying to everybody. He just knows what people want to hear, and he's very, very good at PR. And it has come undone a bit, and now people are doubting what he's saying because they know what he's saying on the other side of his face to the other people that want to hear different messaging. This thing, typically, without going into the specifics of each topic, they were still reiterating their commitment to the things that I like about Xbox. There was a lot of positive messaging in there. I laugh at the fact that a lot of it was fluff, and they were talking about how good they want it to be for everybody and whatever. But it was positive. It did reiterate their commitment. It did alleviate a lot of people's direct concerns. And there was some bad news tucked in there. But despite that bad news, they're still going to be giving me what I want for a long time. So, I didn't hate the podcast.
Okay, hate is a strong word. I rewatched it again just before the start of the show, and I did feel like, okay, I watched it again. I was like, okay, let me listen to it with more of an open mind. And some bits that I just glossed over because I was trying to like some of their statements. I was like, okay, I can see what they're trying to say there, the broader strategy, but still fluff. It was still fluff to me, and I was just like, who do you think this is going to actually resonate with? Like you're saying this stuff about we're going to be open. Like some of these statements seem to be in direct contention with each other because they want to maintain exclusivity, but at the same time, there were multiple times he said, "Oh, play anywhere, everywhere, something strategy." These taglines, he repeated them multiple times. So just every time he did, it annoyed me. It just seemed like, I don't know, like they're still. The general takeaway for me was that they really were trying to make. They talked about continuity of. Well, go into the topics in a bit now. Well, now the first thing right off the bat, which I thought was a really good thing to do, was for him to say that. Let me tackle this thing head on. The exclusivity question. What's going on with exclusives? And he said straight away, look, there are 4 games and they're coming to PlayStation and Switch. And then he says, but we still have the same exclusive strategy. I'm like, well, how does that work? You can't have. How do you reconcile that statement with "we're not a third-party publisher," which he said, and he also made another statement during the ABK, like the FTC trials, where he said anytime they put a game out on PlayStation, they use that revenue to hurt them, which is such a romantic language to really exaggerate shit. So then now you're voluntarily putting these games there. So then let's talk about these 4 games, because instantly I got pissed off because we can't say what they are. And then some people said, and he did say, it's because these companies want to have their own like marketing thing. Mm-hmm. In my head, I was thinking, you've already had it. Like, will you have a second go at your marketing beat? I guess, but to me, it was like a bit of a cop out. Like the 4 games coming to to other platforms, but you can't even name that. I felt like it was a bit of a bitch slap, to a lot of Xbox fans. And the 4 games that people are talking about, Asa, or assuming they are Sea of Thieves, Pentiment, Grounded, and Hi-Fi Rush.
Hi-Fi Rush.
Do you think?
Question marks over Grounded. I think so. The criteria that they set were 2 like single player ones over a year old and 2 service games over a year old. We pretty much know like as certain as you can be about Hi-Fi Rush, Sea of Thieves, and Pentiment. Those have all been strongly rumored. Grounded could well be the other one. I don't see it as much of a service game as such. I know it has service elements and it is an ongoing game, but it's not really a community-driven game in the same way. So I'm not 100% convinced, but also I'd like for it to be Killer Instinct or something like that, but it probably is Grounded.
You think it's Grounded? I doubt. I feel like Killer Instinct could be a more meaningful test for them, especially if they're working on a sequel. There's some murmurs of a sequel being worked on.
And they have just tidied it up, haven't they? But
yeah, I don't know. Can you imagine if it's Halo? Oh, that would fucking cause a shitstorm. I don't see the Pentiment. Do you think anyone's gonna buy Pentiment on PlayStation?
On Switch, yeah. I'm not sure it'll do massively well on PlayStation. I mean, there's also like every possibility that these games at some point in time actually hit PlayStation Plus and stuff as well. Like Microsoft aren't against taking money from Sony. If it's a fit for that service, then it'll end up on that service. So.
But what's the strat there? Because he was very vague about it. And this is where the marketing speak came in, because in case to why you're doing this, they said we're always exploring strategies, and this is one of them. And he said something along the lines of, because of what those platforms offer. And I'm like, what do they offer? More numbers, because they're doing way better than you. Yeah, exactly. You're just saying more sales, more money. So it's like, okay, so that was just like, okay, your console's not selling that well, and that's the real reason behind why you're doing this. One thing I have to say, chat. Holy shit, chat. Before this was confirmed, we were saying that not even 1 game should come out there. And now that 4 games are confirmed.
Just to clarify that little statement, who's we?
Me.
Okay.
Me and a cabal of Xbox fans, including Colt Eastwood's in the chat right now. We said not 1 game should come out there. Now 4 games come out, and everyone's like, oh, the insiders were wrong. The insiders were wrong. You guys eat crow. And I'm seeing the Xbox guys celebrate out on the streets. And I'm thinking, did you not see the bit where 4 games on Xbox are coming out? Yeah, granted, they're not big games and that you care about, but it's not going to stop at these 4 games, Asa. And Phil Spencer was very quick to say, hey, PlayStation guys, just want to let you know, like, you could keep thinking other games come, but that's not the case. But that's where the silver tongue comes in, Asa, because he's saying that because he's heard and seen and observed the discourse around what's happening here. He's putting temporary expectations there. Well, you absolutely they will be looking at, they've said it, they will look at the strategy, and I guarantee you more than these 4 games will come to Xbox, PlayStation and Nintendo. It's just a fact. And not all of them going to be small inconsequential games that
that's
Hi-Fi Rush.
A different conversation. So there's 2 things there, because you're saying Like, of course, there's going to be more than 4. That's kind of how it works when you're counting events. Like, the number's not going to go down. At some point, they are going to release more, and it's going to go up. Of course, there are more than 4 games. He's not even denying that there's more than 4 games. This initial batch, there are 4 that they've committed and confirmed at the moment. Of course, the number's going to go up. The question is more about, like, you can look at these games and you can frame what they're doing, and you can look at the delay and the size of the games and all of these kind of things, and how much it's devaluing Xbox and what they're actually giving away. The question is whether that framing is going to shift over time. It's not a question of whether they're going to release more games. They're definitely going to release more games. Is the framing going to shift so that they release bigger games, or they release games sooner, or things like that? That's a more valid question that's less clear at the moment.
And I guarantee you the framing will 100% change, because the framing right now is so narrow and undetermined. So by virtue of the fact that it's 4 for now and they're smaller, if you can say that's the framing now, it's a testing phase and they're testing the waters phase, then it's definitely going to change. But I think in terms of scope...
Why is it inevitably going to change, though? Because you're an advocate of fighting in the console space. And is the message that you're taking away from this that they don't care about the console space, and the framing is going to change because they do not care about the console space?
I think it's not that they... Well, I think they have a diminished care or affinity with the console space, while simultaneously recognizing, and we'll talk about their hardware announcement soon, they have a diminished view on the console space because they're looking broader and the consoles aren't selling well. And it's precisely because the consoles aren't selling well that they have to reconcile that fact. And ideally, I think Phil Spencer and company are more in Zellos or whatever. They want to make more money. Now, when Phil Spencer says Helldivers, I'm not exactly sure who it helps. And it says that. The same guy who says that about Helldivers, this is the same guy who will want a gas game on PlayStation day and date. So, chat, you can mark my words. I don't even know how many gas games Xbox has, actually. But Xbox's gas games, like, they will want to be everywhere. And, you know, God forbid if it's Gears or Halo or something, whatever. Like, to say God forbid, I'm going to be a PC. At this point, I'm starting to get a little bit mature and stop to care of this company. But at the same time,
that's the worst, most ridiculous thing anyone said all podcast.
I said a little bit. I chose my words carefully like Phil Spencer. I said a little bit. But I love that you caught me on that instantly. A little bit. Because there's a lot of like animosity, Tim Dog animosity. But it's just like they will do it. Asa, the consoles aren't selling. They have to shift. They see when Phil Spencer says Helldivers doesn't help anyone, and he's basically giving you an insight into his mindset. If they get a gas game where this could be like pretty big, then they might be well inclined to release a game. Yeah, Call of Duty. Yeah, Call of Duty is already like there, right? So to me, this is what really annoys me. You have your excuse by virtue of the court proceedings. You're forced into this business agreement for a decade with Microsoft, with Sony. So you can have COD for 10 years and benefit massively from the revenue that generates on PlayStation. But their appetite is more than that. And you'll see something shift. This will definitely shift. Right now, people don't care. Even the Hi-Fi Rush was like the only game of the year contender for Xbox, really. Not even Starfield wasn't there in the running for the whatever, if you believe in the critics or not. And that's been going in, and people still have glossed over that, which I find remarkable from the Xbox fans who've done such a great U-turn on this. And PlayStation guys who were mocking this game and now they're celebrating that it's coming unofficially. So in the future, you will see an instance where there'll be a big game and Xbox guys will be annoyed. But the thing is, the hilarity of this is the reactions online. Because when it happened, Asa, and I know you don't care about the console wars, but you know me, I'm a piece of shit. Observing the disappointment from the PlayStation side was actually really remarkable, because they were like, they thought it was the full slate. Like, and the Phil statements, no matter how expertly chosen, even though they're temporary or what, or the silver tongue and all that, really did actually work, because it galvanized the Xbox fans who completely forgot about their own mandate and manifesto a week or two ago, there's only 4 games when there should have been 1. So there's that. But the PlayStation guys were really disappointed because some insiders, like you had Xbox Era, say Starfield was going to come out on PlayStation, and Nate the Hate was a YouTuber who had to do a U-turn on it just before it got announced, which saved him, I guess. And then you've had Tom Warren on the receiving end of saying something. I think he said
Indiana
Gears
Jones.
Collection. Oh, Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Oh, Indiana Jones. So he was saying that, and people are like, we don't trust insiders now, and they are getting shit for it. And Tom Warren's double down said, don't watch this space. It could still happen, even though Phil Spencer explicitly in this very canned interview was asked by this lady who's really good, the way she does it. Forgot her name.
Tina Ramini.
Said she was
Amani, something like that.
Amini. Yeah, I think it's Amini. She was really good. And she said, even though this is a canned, predetermined interview, she said, what about Indiana Jones and Starfield? And he says, no. They might change in the future. I am not. There's no way I'm going to be on a martyr for this and say definitively what Phil Spencer is going to say. I have no. Nah. So they're easing us into it. So applying a little bit of lube, and then little games here and there, and then they'll put things in bigger and deeper. But I don't know. Like Asa, I don't have faith in Microsoft, like the way the fans believe in it. But if my scientific poll is true, the tides are shifting for them.
It's weird though, because we look at it very differently, because you obviously want your console war and you want Microsoft to fight with Sony for the cardboard trophy, and I don't care about that. Like, I'd be fine if they'd come out and said everything's going everywhere. I don't mind. None of that hurts me. All of the stuff that I cared about from the Xbox stuff was more to do with like reiterating their commitment to Game Pass and all of these things that I'm sure we'll get into. But yeah, I kind of forgotten what my point was. Yeah, I look at it at a very different angle to you. So I think that's worth clarifying for anyone watching. But because I look at it from this different angle, I'm not looking at the stuff that Phil is saying with complete distrust and going, like, everything's going to go to PlayStation day 1 in 2 years' time or whatever.
Yeah.
They want, and I said before they went into the event, whatever happens, it's very, very important to Microsoft that they fight tooth and nail to be a relevant platform, to hold a platform. And they were talking about it in that podcast. They were going on about Roblox and Fortnite and things like that. If Microsoft were not a platform holder with a walled garden of some kind, they would not be getting money from the biggest games in the world. And there's just no way that they're giving that up. So by the same token, ignoring what Phil is actually saying out loud, ignoring the fact that he knows how to operate that silver tongue, they're not gonna put everything on PlayStation day and date without really fighting to be relevant to Xbox fans and to keep those fans happy. So I say this as someone who doesn't care. They can put stuff anywhere and I'm not going to be unhappy, but I don't think that they're going to make people like you unhappy in the same breath. It's just not how I see it going. But
yeah, and that's important, Phil. Don't make me unhappy. No, but you're right, and I think that this is where a lot of fans were like myself. Well, I'm actually a bit more on the other side of it. But I said, okay, the 4 games, fine, but there's an indication a lot that you still want to fight. You still will. You want to open the floodgates en masse. Which is a more remote anyway and unbelievable, but at the same time, you never know. They could have done this because we thought Satya Nadella hanging over his head could have said it and they could have done it. But he's holding on there. Said just these for the PlayStation fans, don't ask for more, expect it. These are the right things to say, and they are fighting tooth and nail. They're still in the console space, which we will talk about why, and Sarah Bond actually delivers the more hopeful narrative in all of this. And before we go into the next element of that, let me read these super chats.
You read those. I'm going to grab some more wine, but I'm still listening.
Okay, no problem at all. Let me read these super chats. Thank you. He says, "God, let me fuck around." Oh, they can hear me. Oh shit. I'm so bad. I should do this on my personal channel. On this one, we always get demonetized every single time because I'm a piece of shit. Chat. Let me do super chat. JD shit with a 5. gifted memberships, and then King Thrash actually bowed out. He says, thank you. Okay, you win this time, former bots, aka new ponies. Shout out to King Thrash. I think he's still massively entertaining, no matter how much you guys hate him. If someone can make me laugh, they work their way into my heart. Like JD Gamer with a $5 super chat, because I can pathetic poor begging ponies still got no games now. Step to the left, Gaz. If I ever get an invite, it's Pony Armageddon. JD, when I do my own channel and I've got like guest call-ins, you're welcome to join and say whatever the fuck you want. Joseph Moore, thank you for the $5 super chat. Sorry guys, I got a DM before the stream started. Should have read it earlier. It says rumors were true, Xbox down bad, and HD2 owned Starfield. Helldivers 2 owned Starfield. Don't make fun of Colt Eastwood like that. And JD Gamer with a $5 super chat. What if 4 games are a delay tactic to allow Xbox AAA bangers to come out over the next 18 months? How? And push console sales and Game Pass sales up. Delay tactic? In what sense? I don't understand that, JD. Supernova, thank you for the $10 super chat. A public lie to what Phil said in one of the Xcast episodes after Redfall. We treat Xbox users as first class. Now competitors will play the games with perfect versions free of bugs. Insane leader. Ooh. Are you saying we beta tested those games? That's deep. And Lutron with a $5 super chat. Please tell me you read the Verge interview. Saint Phil had right after the bullshit podcast. He did say Starfield and Indie weren't off the table. Nothing is off the table. We know that. We know that nothing's off the table. That's like, what we're saying to you.
That's a really old adage, though. You never say never, right? Of course they're on the table. Yeah, exactly. Of course they might come one day, but they're not going to put them over there right now while people care about them, and that's significant and seems to be the strategy. So
exactly. Like, if Starfield comes out on PlayStation in 3 years, is that big news? Well, we're talking about next gen. So, like, you know, one thing he also did say was that he thinks in 5 years, or I think did he give 5 years? He said he says he sees exclusives becoming less and less important. Like exclusive to tied to a single box. Do you agree with him?
So I had some data from the FTC thing. Nerd Propellant sent me it on Twitter, where Microsoft's own analysis is that actually exclusives aren't that important and they don't sway console sales as much as people think. It's very short-lived and isn't actually what cements like PlayStation's success and all the rest of it. That was in the court cases and it's their own analysis, so I imagine it's sincere. I don't know. It's very difficult to see outside of like your own circles and things, and we're in a particular crowd that are very enthusiastic about the big marketing beats, essentially. But on the bigger picture, they're already not as important as people think, according to Microsoft's data anyway. So I didn't catch this particular line about Phil saying that they're going to diminish in importance over the next 5 years, but of course they're going to diminish in importance if you're putting your games everywhere.
That's what I was actually, I think I said that on the live stream as well. I was like, of course, if you don't believe in them, that is crazy. JD in the chat says Satya wants games everywhere, but he doesn't understand the console market, and Phil's putting those 4 games on PlayStation allows the Xbox team to have time to get the bangers out and push console sales. Okay, I get it. King Thrash, shout out to you. He goes, last one. Answer this question. How is this helping Xbox in any way? Every game will be questioned now. This deflates hype and sends people to PlayStation. Do you think that's a valid point? This is one of the most main contention is the mixed messaging. And Incognito, when I was on Iron Lord show, also said the same thing. And I agree with him. Like, is this going to be a question? Do you think that... Keith Ash is asking that everyone's going to question now whether an Xbox exclusive actually is one, and it deflates the hype and association with the brand.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the things that people didn't want going into it. They wanted a certain amount of clarity. They didn't want this to be vague and open. Nobody wanted to be questioning every exclusive and what the strategy is. And it is still open, and those questions are still going to come about. Whether those questions are damaging or not is another matter. Conversations aren't a bad thing to be had. That's a negative from the whole thing, is they didn't concisely address that. And obviously, questions are going to come. Are they going to deal with those questions as and when they're announcing new projects henceforth? Probably not.
Yeah. That's the tricky part, and that is a valid point. Like, we all have that question mark.
At the same time, whenever a game is announced, so let's say Microsoft are announcing like Gears of War 6, if the important question to you is this game coming out on PlayStation, then you're doing it wrong anyway. Right? You're doing it wrong.
It's not the most, yeah, so true. I also think that without any solid dates and stuff, people that's going to be a short-lived like narrative. That will be JD Gamer will say poor begging ponies, because people will be doing that anyway. Shout out to Gamer by Choice with the $10 super chat. Ace, I'm with you. I don't care if God of War is on Xbox and Halo is on Xbox. Or Halo's on PlayStation, I assume you want to say there. I just want to play games on platforms I buy. I see games everywhere in the future. Consoles may die, and platforms will replace them. Gamer by Choice, I hate you. No, I don't hate you, but but you know, David Jaffe's also of the same view, and me and him were just arguing about this. But you know, different strokes for different folks. Now, the interesting part, you know, that was definitely good news, and I think it helped with the Xbox, the confidence, and you know, the strat. New hardware. Sarah Bond actually revealed that this holiday they're going to actually reveal what their new hardware plans are, which was very interesting. I don't know now whether that alludes to you know, iterative whatever mid-gen stuff or you know, refresh or slim versions, but she definitely talked about new hardware, which she described as, and I quote, the largest technical leap we have seen. Now that's marketing fluff, because I heard that at the start of this gen from both sides.
That is conflating two things as well, though. Just to clarify, the most powerful, like biggest leap ever or whatever is for their next gen console they were talking about. That's not what they're talking about at the end of this year. So just
is that what they're talking about this year?
No.
Oh, okay. So the end of this year, they're going to be talking about some other handheld.
I could be wrong on this, and I hope someone is going to clarify on it. But I think they actually said in the interviews afterwards that at the end of this year they have new hardware releasing, so not just announcing, which means it's less likely to be a big deal. It's more likely to be that like cylindrical, mid-gen slight update thing, or a new controller or whatever else. I could be wrong on the details, but I think they were talking about releasing hardware rather than just announcing it.
I don't think they said release, did they? Chat? I maybe missed that part, but Asa, if they do that mid-gen slim thing, I think that's such a bad idea. Unless they could cut down on component costs, but no one's buying their hardware anyway. Like,
it's a terrible idea if they know full well that the PlayStation 5 Pro is coming out in that time frame. If they're ignoring PlayStation and going through their own strategy and doing what they plan to do all along, then it makes sense. And I don't know if you're Microsoft, if you feel the need to respond to what Sony are doing. There is nothing exciting about those mid-gen little updates that we saw. So
yeah.
Apart from the controller I am looking forward to. The Xbox controller is long overdue. That little refresh.
I need a new controller, man. I'm actually excited about that new Xbox controller, man. They need to fix up on that. Do you think there's any credence on them doing handheld? Because I think there is. I think this is all leading up to that.
The industry is telling them to. If they follow trends, which Microsoft do follow trends, handhelds are a big deal. You've obviously got the Switch, but you've also got the Steam Deck and the array of Windows handhelds that Microsoft and Xbox are very, very aware of. So I will not be in the least bit surprised if they are quickly pursuing handheld hardware. I don't care for it myself, but it's likely to be part of the picture.
What about the next Xbox? This largest technical leap. Now, I know there's not much to go on, but a lot of people are saying, like, this AI thing, like, speak to me as a non-technical person. What is this stride, like, they're talking about? Like, what do you expect the next console to be? Like a lot of people are saying, is it going to be more of the same?
That's too much. AI is very likely a significant component of it, because you look at, again, trajectories of technology and you look at what NVIDIA cards are doing. with DLSS, and there's a new one. There was a Digital Foundry video today about their AI. So NVIDIA have an AI upscaling way for HDR, to put HDR into previously SDR games, which Microsoft do through Windows, but this is supposed to be quite a lot better using AI technologies. We know that Microsoft are massively investing in AI. It's different when you're talking about cloud and conversational stuff and things like that, but they're massively investing in AI, and they have invested in their own chip foundry to make their own AI specific chips and hardware. So it's highly likely that that kind of intelligence is going to be key to the update, the huge leap that they're talking about, what it means in practical terms, and whether it sets them above or behind the competition. And with you in that, I'm not going to get carried away with a bit of marketing fluff, like Microsoft coming up and saying this thing that we want to sell you is going to be really good. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, they say this all the time. So it's like, I've heard this all before, especially I feel like I've been burnt like in 2 generations. The 360 was the outlier, which impressed me out the bat. I don't think I'll ever be impressed like that ever again. The 360 gen was the time where we just said, wow, when we booted up a game, where the consoles were ahead of PC for a while. Even if it was a couple of years, it was a while at the time. Like Project Gotham Racing, like wow, look at the war textures. Even a Project Perfect Dark Zero, like wow. And then you had Gears of War. Then it finally came out, and I was like, this doesn't get any better than this. And it obviously did, but it was that good. And I don't have that leap into it, so I'm still excited about the hardware. I don't want to go PC, but PC is where it's at. If I just rejig my setup, it'll feel like an Xbox, but I've really enjoyed my console gaming for the bits that you mentioned. Those like features, but the console themselves, in terms of what they've delivered in the games, haven't actually done it for me. But I'm still excited about the new hardware. It means that Xbox is still in the game in the hardware space, and if they go earlier than Sony, I think it's such a breath of fresh air. Such a breath of fresh air for Xbox to go in a bit early. Just why would you want them to do the same thing? Yeah, PlayStation will have a more powerful bit of hardware later on, but it's something different. They've come in early. They're doing something. They'll definitely they'll go hard on the marketing as well. So that means great software for the strategy to work. And that's the impetus I want Xbox. My biggest fear of all of this, when I was arguing with David Jaffe, is if they go full third party, they won't be competitive enough to deliver good quality games or get their studios to do that. I'm not worried about that anymore because of this podcast, because it's not a full, the gates aren't fully open, but that means that they are still committed. Like you said, the whole time. They will still work to make sure their platform is a viable one and compete with Sony. So that was really a breath of fresh air. And then finally, well, actually, before we read the final bit of what this podcast was talking about, let me read these super chats as well. And we, sorry, chat, I'm just looking to get the times for the timestamps so you don't have a go at me. 10 seconds after the show ends, goes, where's the timestamps? As I'm doing them. Lutrons. No, sorry. King Threat. Oh, no, King Threat. Sorry, I read that as well. Joseph. Joseph Wall, thank you for the £2 super chat. He goes, oh, you're that guy called Where's the Lamb Sauce? He's always trolling my Twitter account. He's on Twitter. If you want to follow him, he's a troll. And JD says, imagine Xbox allowing PlayStation 5 Pro to come out, then immediately announcing the next gen Xbox launching with Gears and showcasing that against the PlayStation 5 Pro. Wow. And shout out to Connor with a £24 chat. He goes, Xbox S is outselling X by 75% of sales. What does that mean? Wait, he's saying the Series S is selling... The
ratio between them, 75% in favour of the Series S. I don't actually know what the numbers are. Might be.
That'd be crazy if it's true. But onto the JD's actual super chat was really good. They're like, well, that's actually a bit worrying if the Series S is actually 75%. But the other point of that, JD, Asa, I don't think I think Sony backed themselves into a corner if they released the PS5 Pro. As in, I don't think it's a good strat. I think if they have their brains working, they wouldn't even release the PS5 Pro. They're the latter half of this gen. I just don't know. Well, this is going to sound crazy to say and might age badly. I don't know how much the PS5 Pro will sell as much. And I also don't think the gains there are going to be all that great. I don't know. I don't
think that the PlayStation 4 Pro sold very much, and I don't think it necessarily needs to. I think for Sony, that's more about they want to extend the PlayStation 5 generation a bit, because much as they're okay at releasing a new console, they're not in the same situation as Nintendo, but they're also not in the same situation as Microsoft. It's not that easy for them to release a new generation. They do hurt their own audience in a sense. So the PlayStation 5 Pro is for a very small core of their fan base, so that they can extend the PlayStation 5 generation without those people getting bored of the platform and getting fed up with the resolutions and things like that. Because if that stat that we got a minute ago about the ratio between the Series S and the Series X is accurate or even remotely close, it's fair to say most people don't care about resolution and stuff, but there is a core audience and a vocal audience that do care a lot. And the PlayStation 5 Pro doesn't need to sell loads, it just needs to sate that audience for a while.
Yeah, that's a very good point. It does. And people are already rumbling about, performance and frame rate. Even Helldivers 2 struggles at, I think, at 1080 to hit solid 60, according to Digital Foundry, and that's not really exactly a good stat. So these consoles are already kind of struggling, let alone the Unreal Engine 5 games that are going to be coming out. But as the Xbox, I think JD's right. Like the strat could actually work really well in favor of Xbox. I'm really hoping the console warrior in me wants PS5 Pro to come out, and then once the opponents will have their win for say a year or so or whatever, and then the new Xbox comes in, and that's the kind of like disruptive kind of marketing shift like that comes in with the next Gears or whatever. That would be pretty damn cool. Like, oh shit, okay, you got your iterative console, well here's Xbox now with this beast console, which will be outdone by the PS6 in a few years. But yeah, so yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Joseph says Gears is a shadow of its 360 days. Well, I've been quite critical of Gears and its direction, but even I would say don't sleep on Gears, man. Gears is still a beast, and whatever that coalition could do with UE5, like we were hearing last year that Gears 5 looks incredible behind closed doors. And as you would expect, it's Gear 6, sorry. Funky Clam Kumru. Did I say that right? Samet Funky Clam Kumru has now joined the GameOnDaily family. Welcome, bro. And Joseph, guys, you're the only Xbox bro I give credit to. What the fuck? Lamb Sauce, I swear you're the guy who always calls me names. Maybe I've mixed you for someone else. I've got so many people. I've got a cabal of people who are actively trying to get me banned on Twitter. They're literally, they speak to each other. You're the leader. I knew it.
For your own mental health. Help you recover. Help you come back to the real world. And we got to get Gaz off Twitter.
You can't delete me, bro. If you do, I'll make another one, and I will make another one. You can't murk me. But yeah, Xbox. That's the Xbox's thingy strat, the hardware strat. So the final bit, which was a big relief, and I was asking you this question before we went. This was last week. Game Pass. There's a big. This is the one where I understand the people were annoyed at the insiders saying that Xbox would remove day and date, and this was I was very skeptical about. Also, had some people, some influencers who I won't mention, who are celebrating getting their flowers prematurely, saying Game Pass, that their spiel about Game Pass was right. It's not sustainable. Blah 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 blah. I don't know where they got this idea from, and in this meeting or whatever, this podcast, they've confirmed that games will remain. Matt Booty said they will remain day and date, and I think it was Sarah Bond who said that Activision Blizzard's games will be on Game Pass, and Diablo is going to be joining them. So that's great news. That's not changing. So that's a bit of a slap in the face of those who are saying that there is proof, because if that didn't happen and they removed day and date, people would be vexed, and that was proof that Game Pass isn't working. But mixed in with that was the announcement of the numbers. and I say 35 or 38 mil.
34
and that
million.
to me seems 34 mil, and that seems very low to me. Seems quite low, man. Like, I'm pretty sure that's below their estimates. And I think that
It's
also
not only
includes
below
core.
their estimates, it's below what it was at 2 years ago. So I think if they had been announcing these numbers, so if you look at the, there's official numbers that came from the court cases that they had from 2022. That had them, I think, so combined services, Xbox Live Gold and Xbox Game Pass, just on the console side of things, they were at 33.8 million. So that excluded PC 2 years prior. You now combine it all this year, so Xbox Live Gold is converted into Game Pass, but they've given us this like amalgamated figure of 34 million, which means essentially, if you consider that now rolls in PC, which has been growing nicely in that period of time, Game Pass has shrunk in 2 years.
Wow.
And that would be, for us on the outside, if we just got that number on its own, we'd be going, oh, like we know that it's below Microsoft's estimates and targets, because they say that every fiscal release, like it's below their targets and what they wanted from it, but actually shrinking. Like maybe we've misjudged Game Pass more so than Microsoft have. Maybe like it's not the future, but they packaged it with a commitment to carrying it on, with a commitment that it's sustainable and a commitment to still releasing games, including Activision Blizzard games, including ZeniMax games. All of the games are still going on there, which means for us as consumers, it does not matter that it's shrinking. Like, it's a concern for Microsoft, but for us as consumers, Sarah Bond used the word forever, which she shouldn't have done. That's a word that you shouldn't use, but she said forever in that podcast, and that means
forever,
at least for the foreseeable future, this service, if I love Game Pass, it's really frigging useful. And they've committed to doing that. And it's a funny question on the sustainability thing. In some regards, the fact that it's not growing kind of alleviates any stress on that one. Like,
What do you mean?
Because it means that what Microsoft have discovered over time is that they're still going to be selling games, and that the market is not going to be entirely subscription based. So in some regards, if they keep it where it is, and like we know that the audience they've got, this very core audience that have Game Pass also spend money. This is the kind of people that pre-order 3 days early access for Starfield and buy the watch and things like that, which means that where it is right now seems to be comfortable enough for them to sustain, even if it's not the promised land that they seem to be betting on in the first place. And for us as people buying into the service, I think it's fair to say that the Game Pass offering over the last few months, that they're not spending as much money on third party anymore as they used to. Right? The games that they're releasing month on month, they've been fairly underwhelming. But their first party is getting up to speed. It is rolling. They mentioned having 10 games or 10, I'm not sure if they said games, but 10 significant bits of content this year. So if they can keep filling the service themselves and keep offering it to us at the same kind of price, there was no notion of increasing the price or adding adverts or anything that people were worried about. Still giving us day and date games. I'm happy with that news. Doesn't concern me that it's shrinking. Might concern Microsoft a little bit, but the commitment's there, so what more could I want?
No, absolutely. Jay Dunn says, Brotato is fire, shut your mouth.
It's really not.
No, I share your optimism regarding it. It's not just the fanboy in me doing that. It's really just, I do believe that this disruptive, service is something they should continue to support. I think it is sustainable. The shrinking is a concern only if you think that the service will go away. But as a consumer,
I think for me though, like when I look at that shrinking, it's like a moment of reflection. Like, wow, I'm really different to a lot of people, and this is something that I'm convinced that Microsoft are discovering as they go along. Like understanding. They talk about 2-3 billion people playing games, and understanding who these people are and what kind of content they want to engage with and how they want to engage with it has been a harsh lesson for Microsoft, but an interesting reflection for me, because I look at it and it's like, I'm so different. So many people that are engaging with games. I'm not the normal audience. I'm not the average, and you're not the average, and nobody that's here right now is anywhere close to the average, because it turns out that the subscription, I will never use the term it's the best value in gaming, because I'm not a paid shield dickhead, but It is a fantastic service. And it is the best subscription service in gaming, and it seems like a no-brainer. And it's obviously not a no-brainer to a lot of people. So it's just curious.
The shade. Yeah, no, you're right. And you're spot on there. You're spot on there. And it's quite interesting for you to... I didn't consider it that way. Seems like the subscription is the more... I know you hate the term core gamers kind of avenue there, really. Microsoft has had a struggle of trying to, well, they just by virtue of absolutely dog shit marketing haven't really got that message across to the masses, and hopefully that changes in the future. But yeah, man, like, that's good news. You mentioned at the start there was some bad news on this podcast.
That was bad news. Game Pass shrinking is bad news for Microsoft.
Oh, was that okay? I see what you mean. I was like, okay, what was the bad news for us? Like, okay, let them fight. As long as Game Pass exists and they've had a commitment forever, then I'm okay with it. Like, okay, fine. If they lose money, as long as it doesn't go away, then fuck it. Like, you know, we're gonna get that Game Pass, and I'm not overly worried because I don't think I do believe that they can go much higher, because they've only had one decent year, really, with Starfield that happened last year. Forza didn't even do much, and Hi-Fi Rush was too niche. This year, when you have your big Indiana Jones, even Hellblade, like, is big for the core gamers, it might become a zeitgeist if marketed well. Doubt it, but okay. And you know, like, you get those games out there, they could make a splash, and then you get into your cadence of your first party releases. And remember, the big one is Call of Duty. Call of Duty, if marketed well to the masses, could really break the bank. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to fundamentally make a difference for the fate of Game Pass, but if it does, if anything does, it has to be this big, like, what else can it be? So, after all the panic and all the terror that the Xbox fans felt, and some people going crazy, and me, thankfully, actually being suspended. Thank you, Ponies, for doing that, because I would have probably dug a hole for myself, and you saved me. And I came out graciously making memes on Twitter. I think generally takeaway from Xbox fans is, look, Xbox is definitely here to stay. I like the fact that console wars is continuing to exist. Microsoft's commitment hasn't waned yet. I'm very skeptical now of any statements that come out of Phil Spencer's mouth. I have been for a while, and I've been quite critical, and I've got a lot of flack for. But now my default position is skepticism, and not like unhealthy skepticism, but just like, even if Phil was in front of me, I said, Phil, like, what are you actually saying here, man? Like, just tell me on a level, bro. Like, what are you actually saying? So, like, it's healthy there. There's challenges everywhere. Microsoft that's struggling is fine with me, because that's the impetus they need to compete. I need them to compete. I'm also happy with the way PlayStation are doing. Like, give us more like Helldivers. Give us more games like that. Like, I don't want PlayStation to die. I want PlayStation to be weird again. And Helldivers is a one indication of PlayStation straying away from this one-dimensional focus that I have not really liked. And I know that some of the PSVR platformers here and there, but no, this gas pivot, along with them doing everything that you like on the single-player front, is great. Competition is still there. That's the main thing. Competition. I'm one of the few, despite my fanboying, Asa, I will maintain that my intentions are still good in terms of wanting competition, and I really believe that. And I completely understand if people don't believe that when I say it. But in my head, is always who's going to keep their foot on the other person's neck in this console war space or the gaming space. And that's not changing. And so for me, despite the fluff, I was happy. Like, okay, but show me more. And I'm going to be quite hated by, I think, Xbox and PlayStation communities, because after my next video, which hopefully will be soon, I'm coming after everyone, because I feel like there's so much chivalry going on now. I'm just so sick and tired of it. I can't, like, I'm going to go PC, man. I'm going 5090. When is that coming out?
Not soon. I don't even think it's this year.
Oh, you fuck. 4090 it is. Huggy Bubby one. But yeah, fucking 5090. I thought it was going to come out. It's not even this year. 5090 is not this year.
They've very much not announced it, but from what I've seen of like Rumours and things, you know how much I love Rumours. I don't think it's this year, but...
Oh my god. Alright, well, I've got to save up for engagement stuff anyway, so fucking...
There you go, it gives you time to...
I gotta get my shit in order, I guess, as well. I save up and stuff. Let me read these super chats before we sign out. So we got Connor Garrity. Connor, why have I seen that for the first time? Did you just become a member? Shout out to you with a $24 super chat. Microsoft. Oh, sorry, I've already read this already. Am I going crazy? Yes, I have. Joseph Wall, thank you with a £2 super chat. My memory is terrible. Joseph Wall, he says, we all know Andrea's HD2 meme died a brutal death. Andrea's HD2, I don't know who that is. Oh, is it Andrea Pacini? I don't follow that person. I've muted her or him or whatever because they're just weird. Gamer by choice with a $2 super chat. Asa, are you saying people do not have brains?
That's because I said the Game Pass is a no-brainer. That's absolutely not what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm wrong. Like, I don't know. No, I'm not saying that.
A Replica shout out to you, man, with a £5 super chat. The Game Pass problem for Xbox, in my opinion, are those who don't buy the games, only spending £120 a year to subscribe. The perceived Game Pass effect. Do you think that's true? Do you think that Game Pass hinders people spending?
There are multiple potential negatives of the Game Pass model. This is why I say in some senses, like in some regards, it's good that it's not all encompassing for Microsoft, because there are people that will subscribe for 120 a year, and in some cases Microsoft will be getting less money than they would have if Game Pass didn't exist. Like there's people there that might have bought 3 or 4 games a year who are no longer going to. But there are also cases where people subscribe for 120 and then they buy games and they buy pre-orders and they buy DLC and they end up spending more than ever. We know this from Microsoft documents nearer to the inception of Game Pass, where they used to share it, where like a Game Pass user is spending more money on our ecosystem than somebody that doesn't have it, and we were supposed to cheer for that. There is an audience that do that, and for so long as it doesn't become all-encompassing and become their entire audience, then it doesn't necessarily matter. You've also got to consider Game Pass it's a global offering, and spending habits amongst a wider audience are very, very diverse. Good point. So yeah, it's a fair question though, because it's not just about whether Game Pass is sustainable, it's whether Game Pass is more lucrative than an alternative path for Microsoft. But you know, they've committed to giving it to us, whether it's good for them or not. I get my games. Yeah, absolutely. And I think on that podcast they actually mentioned the fact that they have different revenue streams, so they have the sales that they rely on, so they're in a unique position there. Well, they have that position there. So yeah, so general takeaway of it, things is people calm down. And the last thing they mentioned was the summer showcase for the future of Xbox. So we get to see finally, not finally, but get to see them, well, hopefully show off some of these games that we talk about. More importantly, we can get moved on to games in this conversation. What are the upcoming games that are coming out now, like in the near future? That trying to steer it back specifically
to
10 bits of content, and we know that they had the 4 at the developer direct. So they had Indie, they had Ara, they had Avowed, and they had Hellblade. We know all of those are coming, and I think they've committed all of those to 2024. But when they mentioned very briefly, casually in passing, that there's 10 bits of content, they included in that specifically, I think, the Diablo 4 Game Pass drop and season update, which sets expectations a little bit in terms of what those 10 bits of content are. So it's not 10 Indiana Jones level games, but it's 10 significant content drops that the community will be interested in. I don't know what they all are beyond the ones that they showed.
I think when he did say that, he meant 2024, 2025 as well. I think that's what he said. So it's like, for me, it's also across 2 years. I may be wrong. But yeah, like, I don't know what those games are going to be. I imagine them like 5 this year and 5 next year. Towerborn, yeah, actually, yeah. A lot of people are hyped about that. I feel like I'm completely missing a boat there. But yeah, let's see. They're both going to be fighting. It's going to be a good year, man, for gaming. It has been a pretty good year already, hasn't it? We're in February. We've had pretty good games come out. So, you know, Dragon's Dogma
So
is
it's
coming
not
out.
just that we've had them. Dragon's Dogma
When is
is
Dragon's-
coming out, and Final Fantasy Rebirth is coming out, and Rise of the Ronin is coming out. And especially like on the Sony side of it, you consider this is part of their dry spell. They're managing to serve content during their dry spell. There's multi-platform games, and we know that Xbox are. I mean, these 10 bits of content, even if some of them are Diablo seasons or whatever else, they've got big games coming, and they will probably never let up again from this point forwards. They've got so many studios finding their cadence now, and
Wow.
they can all stop right now, and I will have enough games to play forever. So there's a lot going on and a lot to try and get through.
It absolutely is. It's a great time, and it's quite interesting for you to say that. Like, you know, Xbox finally at a stage where they have so many studios. They have so many studios they shouldn't have a drive spell. Whether or not those games are good or not is an entirely different question. But yeah, like there should be a lot of an abundance of releases by virtue of how many studios they've got. So this is the whole gaming industry shifting in a way that's generally, despite the job losses, which Phil Spencer did acknowledge, was also an industry-wide problem, let's be real. The shift is happening, Asa, from AAA to AA. Like, it's really happening in real time. I feel like it's...
Yes and no. At the same time, you've got Square Enix and Bandai Namco have both independently come out and said that they're reducing focus on AA. It's very, very complicated issue, but those publishers have come out and said, we've tried doing lots of games, and the market's too saturated with games. This is what I'm saying about there being too much to play. I do not need this much to play. I cannot play this many games. So you've got publishers recognizing that. So at the same time as we're saying we want Sony to kind of shift away from AAA and do some more AA, actually we probably don't have time to play those AA games. Not like if they really commit to that, to delivering more games, actually a lot of them will just fall through the gaps. And Square Enix and Bandai Namco have both recognized that and both said, right, we need to do lesser games and we need to polish them and do like proper AAA quality, because our AA games are sliding under the radar and not getting bought. Well, maybe, maybe they're okay. Like Armored Core 6 is the example. You like Armored Core 6, but it didn't sell very well. You make a good game, but there are too many games to play. It didn't do well. It didn't do as well as they were hoping, and it's the reason.
Really,
it's a cited reason that they're pivoting to less games, higher quality. Because Armored Core 6, it released between Baldur's Gate 3 and Starfield and all the rest of them. It released at a very difficult
time. But it did really well on Steam.
It did reasonably well, but not as well as they wanted. So like them and Square Enix have both come out and said less games. We need to make less games and we need to make them better. So it's all well and good looking at Sony and saying we want you to make more smaller games, but there is only a finite amount of time, and the industry in general, there are so many things to play that actually there is an inherent risk in making smaller games as well, because they may just get ignored.
Yeah, interesting. Such a daunting industry to be in for a lot of people.
Absolutely. That's why we get bloody Marvel games. You know, we haven't talked about this, but there's these leaks coming out this week about this Mandalorian game from Respawn. Does that excite you?
Only because I thought of Star Wars. What's it called? The first-person Xbox game. First-person game. It was a Star Wars game. Star Wars.
Jedi something.
No, not Jedi. It was Star Wars B. Starts with B, not Battlefront. It was Star Wars. Come on, chat! Tell me, chat. Not 1313 that got cancelled. It was on the original Xbox. Republic Commando. Sorry, it was not even B. Thank you, NC. Republic Commando. Do you remember that game on the original Xbox? It was really good. It was the first person
I know of it, but I didn't play that one. But are you looking forward to the Mandalorian game from Respawn?
Yes, it's Respawn. They're fucking incredible.
I hate that Respawn is supposed to be making a Mandalorian game, because I have Disney fatigue from the movie industry, and this is an interesting thing for the gaming industry to deal with, because I think that Disney fatigue is going to bleed over. At the moment, games are so difficult that they mitigate so much risk by using Disney IP. And from Respawn, we're getting a Mandalorian game instead of Titanfall 3. I hate that we're getting a Mandalorian game instead of Titanfall 3, but they're doing it because then you've got an IP and you can sell this thing. I don't want a Mandalorian game. I don't even want Mandalorian season 3 or 4, whatever it is. I liked it when it came out, but I've got Disney fatigue from other medium. I've got Disney fatigue from movies. I don't want everything Marvel superhero. I don't want everything Star Wars. I've had enough of both. I'm watching Loki, the TV series at the moment, season 2 of that, and each episode ends, and I'm just like, oh, what are you doing? Like, this is one of your better series, and I've had enough. That's going to impact the gaming industry as well. Like, this is my perspective, and I'm probably wrong. Other people probably still love it.
I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong at all there. I think the Disney fatigue is being felt throughout the space anyway. If that seeps into the gaming space, and especially when you frame it in the way... Yeah. Yeah. But when you say forsake Titanfall for that...
Yeah.
Then I'm like, no, I change my answer. I don't want to cancel it. But Titanfall didn't even say, we need a new Titanfall, please. I would pay £500 for a Titanfall. No, I wouldn't pay 500. Maybe I would. To greenlight it. Oh, come on, man. Titanfall was incredible. I mean, you're right, though. We are getting so much of that crap. And I think, you see the reaction to Blade. You see the reactions to Indiana Jones, and see these reactions that even Xbox got positive reactions to these franchises, Marvel franchises. You can see them taking that path. Why not? Because they need to.
We'll catch up.
Yeah.
Genuinely, I sincerely believe it will catch up. Yeah, fatigue will catch up. Disney have too much. Yeah, they definitely have. They're also viewed in a certain lens. Like now, they're like, ugh, the quality is really dwindled. For games from Star Wars fans are constantly crying, complaining. Although Mandalorian is one of the better ones. So, yeah. Damn. Well, chat. That was a really, really good. Simon Brandy, thank you for the £2. Give us a rant. This convo's too serious. This is what happens. Like me and you have actually serious conversation. There's nothing to rant about, really. Well, there's loads to rant about, but with Ace, I have to be sensible because you just tear down my rant. But just like, well, don't. People say that I like rein you in. I don't. I let Gaz do whatever the fuck he wants, regrettably.
He's really mean behind the back too. So, but no, look, chat, Xbox fans, you live to fight another day. Ponies. You can keep begging. But, like, despite all the console wars, there's great games, even with the money had games. Look, Sony may not have your first-party games, but you have great Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It's no small game. Neither is Rise of the Ronin, which I'm personally looking forward to. Loved Wolong. And, yeah, like, Xbox, we're going to finally get Hellblade in May as well.
May 21st.
Like, yeah. May 21st. I can't wait to play Hellblade, man. That's going to be a great one. I'm going to take the day off for that. That's all you need. Well, I'll take half a day off because that's how long it'll take to complete the game. Which is music for my ears, despite how much we waited. Gaming is healthy. Xbox is here to stay. PlayStation has no games, according to JD Gamer. Thank you so much, all ponies and bots and everyone in the between. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm grateful for 530 still here. Smash that like button as we say goodbye. Before we do, let's just talk about... Can we talk about movies? Do you like Dune?
No.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next week. Thank you so much, everyone. Asa, tell the people you're on like 15 different shows now.
Yeah. It turns out, actually, I do talk quite a lot. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, there's podcasts on my channel over at Gaming Arcadia. So, go there, listen to those. Those are fun as well. I also stream a bunch of games and do other things in the week. Hopefully getting back to some review videos in the near future. Gaz, I'm under the impression that your new stuff is launching, like actually happening soon, no?
Yeah, it is. You'll know on socials when the countdown has started. I'm just trying to finish the final touches on my video. I still need to film out in the midnight. Don't ask me why. But it's almost there, and I am trying to get my Discord stuff ready. There's a lot there. There's a lot there. But finally, after months of doing it, we're almost there. Almost there. So I'm trying to put a date on it. I was going to put it on it today, actually, say do it, but I had a nap. Woke up late and I had to do the show. So, and I have to time it because it's a 5-day time countdown. So the day makes a difference when I'm launching. But it's there, chat. And it's going to be fun. And Asa, you should do reviews, man. because I was thinking about that as well. Like, I wanted to really do more gaming, like, content stuff. We could talk about the games, but you stream, you do it right. You stream it, which is what I'll be doing, streaming games a lot. I finally finished Sekiro, which is a beautiful game. But you also need to do your reviews, man. You're great at that. Make more videos.
Thank you. I'll try. I'm reinventing the way that the reviews are scored in a way that I think is pretty good. But it is just a matter of time actually getting through some games and putting those reviews up. So.
Definitely. I will be doing that. I will be doing that as well, chat. Just playing a lot more games. So shout out to all your channel members. Shout out to everyone who was really super chatting, even if it was console warring. It was, well, especially if it was console wars. It was great. Thank you to the moderators who actually, shout out to Isla as well, who's soldiering through. I see you there. And Joseph Wall, thank you for the £2 super chat. Blinks in Colt Eastwood. Shout out to Colt as well, who became the meme. And Fritanga just DM'd me the snippet of his video, which is poor Colt. Poor Colt. But gaming is great. And Xbox fans can relax. And someone tell Tim Dog to calm the fuck down. We'll see you next week. Hit the like button. Peace. Bye.